Hey, Chaplain Rutledge, how are you today? I have a book I'm going to read that when I was teaching, like Mommy teaches, I was a teacher one time. I used to read this to my students and they liked it a lot. And today, Daddy wanted me to read it to you. It's called Where the Wild Things Are. You may have heard it before too, but we'll read it again. It's a fun book to read over and over again. Here's our main character. This is Max. This is about the night what Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind or another. Look at him. He's nailing a nail into the wall of his bedroom. That's the kind of mischief I bet Mommy doesn't like very much. And another kind of mischief, here he is chasing his dog down the steps with a fork in his hand, and the dog doesn't look very happy about that. Max is definitely playing some mischief. His mother called to him and she said, "Wild thing," and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. His mommy didn't like him saying that, did she? That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. Now, how does that happen in his room? But look at the trees that are beginning to grow around his bed. And it grew some more. And there's the moon and the stars that you can see outside, and more trees. And it grew until his ceiling hung with vines, and the walls became the world all around him. Doesn't look like his room anymore, does it? And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. He's not in his room anymore, is he? He's off on an adventure in that boat. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. The first wild thing he saw was this dragon that came up out of the water near his boat. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Look at Max in his boat. He doesn't quite know what to think of them. He's never seen anything like that. Till Max said, "Be still," and he tamed them with a magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. He's a very little boy, but they say he's the wild thing. And they made him king of all the wild things. They even put a crown on his head. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus begin." Let's see what the wild rumpus is. Oh, look, they're dancing under the moon. Oh, they're jumping up and dancing at the stars. And look at Max. Here's Max. He's right in there with them in that wild rumpus. Oh, and here they're all hanging from the trees. Max right in there with them. He loves being one of the wild things, doesn't he? He's really using his imagination. And here he is riding on the back of this bull, just like he's king of all the wild things. And he is. "Now stop," Max said, and he sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all the wild things, was lonely, and he wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. Here they all are. They've all fallen asleep. And Max is thinking about what he smells that smells so good to him. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go, Max. We'll eat you up. We love you so." But Max said no. The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye to all the wild things. What an adventure he had had. And he sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. Where's he going? Where do you think he's going? And into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. Do you think he was glad to get back to his room? He'd had quite an adventure using his imagination with all the wild things. But he looks like he's very happy to be back in his own room, and he's going to walk over to the table there, and his mommy has left his supper there for him. That's what he was smelling that smelled so good. And it was still hot. She had kept it hot for him. Oh, what a great book. Boy, he had quite an adventure, didn't he? And you know, Chapel and Rutledge, I think about you all and how you use your imagination. Chapel, when you're playing with your Barbies, your Barbie dolls, I think you use your imagination and create adventures with Barbie. And when you wear your princess dresses, you use your imagination and think about what it would be like to be a princess when you wear those pretty dresses. And then Rutledge, when you're pushing your dump truck through the mud in your backyard, I think of you as being the dump truck driver. I think you can just drive that dump truck because I've watched you push it through the mud. And then when you fly your helicopters, you're using your imagination. Using our imagination is a lot of fun, isn't it? All right, enjoyed reading the book to you. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.